What's up, E.D.G fam? Kevin here, and if you haven't guessed, today I am going to be talking about my favorite dexterity games. This is a top 10 list that I kind of always assumed I would probably do first because one of my gateway games was actually a dexterity game, and I have quite a few of them if you can't see. Funny enough, these aren't games that actually are on my top 10. These are just games I have that, I picked up over the years. I figured, talking maybe about why some of these weren't on my top 10 would give you a little bit of insight of why the ones that are on the top 10 made it. So not in any particular order. I mean, let's talk about the Table of Lava. So the Table of Lava is like a card flicking game. You're trying to take out other people's meeples. You're putting your meeples on cards that are basically islands, and you're trying not to be on the table. It's fun, but it's also kind of a little finicky for me. Trying to get cards under the meeples. It just is kind of what it is. The game that I actually prefer to that is a game that also did not make the list. That's Dino Hero. This game is much better, in my opinion, than the Table of Lava. It's a lot less, like I said, it's a lot less finicky. I like the way that the cards are just kind of going on top of other cards. You don't have to deal with extra meeples. I like playing this with my daughter. This one is actually a fun one, and I would definitely say this is probably higher up out of the ones that I didn't pick. The next one is, we'll talk about Mega City Oceana. This is a game that I haven't really had a full experience like table. I played a little bit with my daughter, but we haven't really played per se, the full game, the full rules. There's a solo variant I played off of BGG that I like building. I mean, I do like this game because I like kind of building and stacking these cubes, and letting, you're gonna let others know, how big of a building you're making and what requirements they are. But it's, like I said, I just haven't quite had the experience for this game to really take off for me. The next one we'll talk about is Pling Pong. This is basically, well, you can guess it. It's similar to like beer pong or any other kind of tennis ball, ping ball. And you're just trying to take other people's cups out. It's definitely kind of has its own spin with the different cup layouts, but I don't know. Like I said, it's nothing crazy special. It's kind of been done. It's just done in a different way. This is kind of one of those games that'll take places when I don't necessarily know if people want to play board games, especially if has the right crowd for it. The next one is probably one of my newer ones. Sorry Sliders. Sorry Sliders is my favorite way to play Sorry. I mean, I have played so many games of Sorry, and this is definitely my preferred way to play Sorry. I like the dexterity, I like the rolling. It kind of reminds me of another game that might be on this list. Spinning this out a little bit now, is Foosball. This was something I think my daughter saw on YouTube. And I love foosball, and this is okay. My biggest issue with it is it's kind of hard to put back in the box. It's not like mousetrap hard to get back in the box, but it can be quite a pain. So it does not get played quite as much as it could, because, well, it's just one of those things where it's like, if I'm gonna get out in like 10 minutes, and then it's gonna take me 10 minutes to put in the box, that's the way that goes. This one right here, so Bonk. This one is, ironically, I'm glad this is in the back, because this is probably the closest one out of all of them that really could have made the list. Is the second dexterity game I ever got. And my biggest issue with it is it's not good unless you have 4 players. It's not good at any other player count. And I'm pretty sure on it says like 2 to 4. It does. It says 2 to 4. I'm sorry, but I will not play this game 2-player. It's just frustrating and hard. But it's fun. This is a very fun 4-player game. I'm probably eventually going to get rid of it, mainly because I have stuff in this top 10 that kind of take the place for me of this. But like I said, it's really fun. The most frustrating thing is it's only good at 4 players. So if you don't have 4 players, this thing is not going to hit the table. And there we go. We got a clear table, and we can talk about my top 10. So coming in at 10 on my top 10 is a classic, and that is Jenga. You can say what you want. This is a great intro to Dexterity Game for most people. A lot of people also don't like this game, so I know a few people in my family that don't necessarily care for Jenga, but I think it's, they don't really care for Dexterity games either. This is a very good entry point. It's a classic. I remember playing this as a kid. It's one of those things where I feel like if you have the right crowd, it's almost not even like you keep going and you're like, oh my gosh, how big can we make this thing? It almost turns into a semi co-op. Yeah, there's winners and losers, but having that great like, oh, don't wreck that tower yet. That's a great feeling. My number 10, Jenga. Most people know this one. Coming into my number 9, most people do not know this one. This one is Mars Open. I really, really like this game. I like it's a tabletop golf game, and I really, really enjoy this one. This is one you can play solo. I think out of probably all of the ones on my list, there's maybe like 3 or 4 that you can play solo. I'll have to correct myself if we keep going. I'm like, oh yeah, you can solo this one too. But this one you can solo. There's a lot of different layouts. You can really create your own. It's interesting because they use these little paper folded origami discs almost. And that's probably the reason this game is slower for me. Not because I have an issue with these discs, because it's just really hard to kind of get master flicking these discs. But I do like it. It's fun. I mean, obviously, setting up each hole every time can kind of be a little pain. When I play sometimes, we'll kind of play, maybe the same hole a couple times. But it's a good game. Like I said, my biggest issue is just, mastering the little paper golf balls you're shooting. But I do enjoy this one. Mars Open, my number 9. Coming in at number 8, I believe this is right. Yes, it's Slide Quest. This is one of my favorite family children's dexterity games. You can also solo this one. It's not quite as fun. I have soloed it. Waiting on my daughter to play sometimes. It's fun. There's 20 different maps, and it reminds me a lot of like the Labyrinth style marble games that I grew up as a child. Very fun. It's got a night theme. It's got little meeples that you got to slide in, knock them into holes. Sometimes you have to follow a very strict path. Other times it's more like almost kind of like a brawl. You're kind of moving your knight around and knocking specific meeples into specific holes, and it can be quite the challenge. I've never played this at 4. I believe I might have played it at 3. I mean, 3 is kind of weird, so somebody's got like an extra paddle that moves the board up and down. But I really like this setup. The components are great. I remember this kind of getting a lot of hype when it came out a couple years ago. I want to say like 2 years ago. I kind of hope they maybe put another theme on it. I mean, I'm not gonna throw I think this is okay, but I mean, I think they could easily put out some packs for this and keep this game kind of fresh. But that is my number 8, Slide Quest. My number 7 is probably going to be one of the most popular dexterity games on this list, and that is PitchCar. I specifically have PitchCar Mini, and I have one of the expansions for it. I like this. This is a great little party. I was talking about how how an accessible game, kind of like Jenga. This is very accessible. I played a full 8-player game on this before. I also I didn't really mention this on Mars Open, mainly because I don't think I'd ever played like an 8-player count, but this is probably one of the better scaling games where it says 2 to 8. It's okay. I mean, it's fun. I think you need more track the more players you have, so you can kind of get spaced out at some point. But yes, I have one extension for it, and then I also have some 3D printed pieces, which can be really, really fun to throw in there. So probably the biggest reason this is so low on my list is you gotta have to have a really good space for this, and not even just area, but you gotta have a level, flat surface. I finally feel like I do now, and I really want to get this game out and see what kind of crazy tracks I can make with it, because that's kind of my favorite part about PitchCar is just building some really cool tracks. But if it's not flat and level, you're going to have some weird, finicky, uneven surfaces. These are kind of like puzzle pieces that sit on top right next to each other. So if there's a lot of times you get hit and it just stops your car or flips it out of play, and that can be frustrating, and that's probably the biggest reason I haven't played. I mean, I've played quite a bit of this, but it's probably the reason I don't get it out more often is because I've had, like table issues of where you can really get this set up and have a fun game. But that is my number 7, PitchCar Mini. I believe so. Yes, it is. Okay. All right, so we're coming down on my number 6. My number 6 is also a very popular game, and it's more of a children's game. And I think a lot of people that are probably going to be watching this video know this game, and that is ICECOOL. ICECOOL is fun. ICECOOL is, my daughter likes to play ICECOOL, and I like to play it too because these penguins can be really fun to flick around. They're weighted, they topple, you can shoot them over walls, you can curve them. And this game is basically just a giant game of tag. I love the box. I love that, all these boxes stack into each other. You create a school, and you're going through these doorways, collecting your fish, getting cards. It's easy, it's simple, it's fun. They even have ICECOOL 2 that allows you to make it bigger. You can play like up to 8 players. This plays 2 to 4. You can play up to 8 players with that. And then it's got a bigger school. I think the colors are kind of cool on that one. But I actually backed Iron Forest, which is basically a more tactical. It's like this up a notch. It's aimed more for adults. Yes, you can still play it with your kids, and I will play it with my kids. But I backed Iron Forest, and it's got like a 2-level launch him up on top. Very cool. That's supposed to fulfill in 2023. But playing this and having such a good time with this and kind of just wanting a little bit more is the reason that I backed Iron Forest. This is my number 6, and that is ICECOOL. This one's going to be a little hard to grab because it's right behind me, and it is large. My number 5 is with a big caveat. I just got this in. I might leave it on the table. I just got this in, and this was my Crokinole board. My number 5 is Crokinole. I've had this board for about a month and a half now, and I really, really like it. But it's got a lot of hype, and it's one of those things I can't put any higher at the moment. And you kind of see why. I have other games that are very similar, but I really, really enjoy this. I was talking about games replacing Bonk for me, and this is one of those. I think this is it's the game that you can play, I mean, realistically, just with what you have, 2 to 4 players. And that's great. You don't have to have 4 players to play this. In fact, I think it probably plays better at 2, but you can play with 3, and then you can play doubles with 4. This game is fantastic. I don't know if it'll ever go any higher than 5 because this is also a very expensive game to get into, especially if you want a really good board. I did also buy a billiards set and some Crokinole cards because the biggest problem I have right now with Crokinole is I don't always have somebody to play with. So the Crokinole cards are kind of great to play by yourself. And I like I said, I really, really enjoy this game. But I also just got it. A lot of hype. I know a lot of people consider this the best dexterity game ever made. And I'm not going to argue with those people because I really do enjoy this. I've already had very, very good experiences in the month and a half that I have this. I've taken like a family member that doesn't even play board games, and me and him played this for like 5 hours one night. It was crazy. So like I said, I know I really love this game, and I'm only going to love it the longer I have. But right now, I think 5 is a fair spot to put it at. And I don't really think I'm going to take this off the board yet, so we're just going to move it over to the side because it is a bit crazy. So this one's going to be a lot of slack. I'm putting Crokinole at number 5. And this next game is number 4 for me. And, I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with this, but I really like this game a lot. This is one of those games that I wish I would have gotten earlier than I did. And that is FlipShips. I heard a lot of people talk about FlipShips. Is this upside down? No, it is not. It's just the boxes. Okay. I really, really like FlipShips. This is like Galaga Space Invaders board game for me. You can play it solo, which, I do. I do play solo, and I do like it. I also like that it's a cooperative dexterity games because other than Slide Quest, there's not really too many cooperative dexterity games that I have. And yes, I enjoy this one. It's one of those that I like the asymmetry powers of different ships being able to do different things. I like the cards. I like that you can get different card combinations coming down. I also I enjoy the art. The art's very sci-fi. I'm a sci-fi fan. I like the orange. I like the purple and blue, and it's just really fun. I like what I did with the logo here. And yeah, it's a very simple game. You're literally just flicking and taking ships out, and that's okay. I like that. Sometimes getting a 30-minute little solo dexterity game is exactly what I need, and that's why number 4 is FlipShips. Coming in at number 3, this is probably going to be the one that most people don't really know about, and it's also one that I would compare the closer to this one, and that one is Binho. Binho is a tabletop dexterity soccer game. This is one of their older boards. I may eventually upgrade. The biggest difference I can say as far as why I would upgrade is the pegs on the newer board are removable, which kind of give you a different game variant. But basically what you're doing is you're going to be flicking a marble, and you're going to try to score goals. And it's back and forth. You can play this 2 players. You can play this 4 and kind of like teammate, like alternate shots. But it is best at 2 players. I like it. It's got these little elastic bands that you can bank shots off of. It's so fun. I enjoy Binho. It's a lot easier to travel with than per se this Crokinole board sitting in front of me. But yeah, these guys are doing great things. If like I said, I don't necessarily want to plug anybody, but this is one of those things where you're getting this handmade, kind of like you're getting your Crokinole board handmade if you get a really, really good one. And they have a lot of custom options. That's kind of what I'm thinking about, because I could totally get a customized new one with metal, little metal pegs. These sound great. I mean, this has definitely got a cool ping sound. I think that's a lot of the reason I take joy in making shots that miss is having a little cool ping sound. I really enjoy this. I'm a huge soccer fan, and this really, really works for me. I mean, there's not very many soccer board games. I mean, as far as that stack just went over. That's okay. Huge mess to clean up. I don't care. We're getting to the bottom of this list. We are at number 2. We're number 2. Number 2. I mean, this game's so good. This game's so good. Okay, so number 2 is for me is Rhino Hero. I've played Rhino Hero Super Battle. But to me, I kind of prefer this because I can travel so much easier with this. This is like the Jenga card game. It's so good. You're stacking cards, and it has that card game aspect. You can change order. You can skip players. This game plays good at 2. This game plays good at 5. It's fun. I love traveling with this. This is one of those games where when I go anywhere, this is probably going with me if we're playing games, just so it's there, because I like it. It's a great filler game. It's fun to play with kids. It's fun to play with adults. It's gonna be a pub game. I mean, it's great. I think it's aimed at being a kid's game, but I absolutely enjoy Rhino Hero. This is probably one of the cheaper ones on this entire list, especially if we're comparing this to the Crokinole board. It's great. Rhino Hero. If you have Rhino Hero, I definitely recommend checking out Rhino Hero Super Battle. It's fun. It's different. It kind of adds a little bit more layers to it, but number 2, Rhino Hero. And then coming at number 1 is the first dexterity game I've ever gotten. This game is fantastic. This game is from Denmark, and it is Klask. So if you don't know what Klask is, Klask it uses magnets. You're going to be hitting a ball. You're going to be hitting a ball with magnets. You're going to be trying to score goals in these holes. You're also going to be trying to avoid these holes because there's like 4 different ways that you can get points. One way is these little obstacles getting stuck to your little pawn piece. That can lose you the game. But I think that's what I kind of like is there's a lot of different ways to get points in this game. I've seen people that can't make a shot save their butt, but there's other tactics to win. I mean, like you said, you got these obstacles that you could shoot at and try to knock them onto your opponent, or just kind of get them in trouble. You got to stay out of your hole. You can score goals and then just losing control and your pawn going other ways. But I really like this. It's clever. I love the fact. I mean, none of these other ones use magnets that I can think of. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. This is the first game I really kind of got into. I wouldn't necessarily consider it my gateway game, but it got me into board gaming. And then I started looking at more games, and then I went. So I give it a lot of credit. It's a great game. You can find it at Target. It's way more accessible than, say, a Crokinole board, and you can actually play if you get like extra pieces, because you can get some replacement pieces. You can play this up to 4 players. I have. It is quite fun, and they also they offer, I think it's called Klask 4, something like that, and it's a round board, and it's the same game, but you can play up to 4 players. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. That is my top 10 dexterity games. My very first top 10 for YouTube. Like I said, kind of makes sense because Klask was pretty much kind of like the game that trickled me down, and then I got into like actual like intro games like Forbidden Island and Pandemic. But I enjoyed it. I still enjoy it. It doesn't get to play as much as this right now because, well, I can play this solo, and now I just kind of hit the ball around. But until next time, join me on Eat.Drink.Game, and I'll bring you another one, hopefully soon. Thanks for watching. Much love.